Hi there, chaps. I've got Jack on MANUP quite clearly. Normally we do the whole thing of he says something, I'll ask a question, but I've already got a head start because he likes to talk and he's very, very honest. So, Jack, we're gonna do what we agree because I know you like to go on. I mean that in a nice and lovely way, mate.
Yeah.
You've got 15 minutes just to say what you said before because people need to hear it.
Okay.
On the
So yeah,
spot.
this all sort of came about from a video posted on my Instagram the other day, which was an old bit of footage which I filmed back at the start of 2017. And it's purely just a bunch of short little clips of my own sort of anxiety tics that I have when I'm struggling, and a lot of people don't pick up on them, but they're things that I've noticed just from things that I've learned from sort of 2012. Obviously the main bulk of my story comes from sort of 2012, 2013, but fast forward to 2017, I'd got myself into a much better state. I'd gone from having suicidal thoughts, really depressed, major anxiety. I'd put on a lot of weight. I was a bit of a social outcast, didn't have a lot of friends, wasn't really going out a whole lot, and isolating myself at home and doing my own thing. But I got myself out of that through engaging with therapists, from talking to people more openly and honestly, and from running and exercise. I got back into boxing, which is something I'd done at a young age, and I'd got myself back to me, and almost a better version of me as well from what I'd been through. I just got myself into a job, which was going well and I was enjoying, and sort of end of 2016, got myself into a relationship, which was amazing at the time. I felt, yeah, it was something. I mean, I hadn't dated anyone, so from sort of 2012, I'd had a big break of not dating anyone. I felt like what I was going through and what I was managing in myself wasn't right or fair to sort of bring to a relationship. So I didn't. I totally switched off from it, and wasn't really interested. I didn't do any dating. I wasn't going out, so I didn't meet anyone, and I wasn't seeing anyone. So I had a big break, and then all of a sudden, I met this girl, and totally, yeah, head over heels like that, and it caught me off guard because I wasn't expecting it, and she was kind of seen as like the good looking one at work. So everyone sort of said, "Oh, there's the good looking one," and I didn't even know she liked me, and it just came out of the blue. Boom! Oh, fucking hell! Like, wow, this girl likes me, and I like her, and this hasn't happened for ages. So it was great. And had a really amazing time, and it was all going really well. And then sort of just before Christmas actually, and she just ditched me overnight, sent me a text, ended it, and then I think about a week later I found out she was just seeing someone else as well. So literally just cast me out like I was nothing. And this is someone that I'd opened up about of all the things that I've been through, and I'd come such a long way in my personal life, and my mental health, and who I was as a person, and I totally opened up to her, and I trusted her, and that was a massive thing for me, was to be able to trust someone, and I did. And for her to cast me out the way that she did was like, it was odd. It was like, so the stuff that I went through back in 2012 had no sort of link to, I wasn't in a relationship. I wasn't, I've never had that sort of feelings before. When I've had breakups in the past, and that's been fine, I've dealt with it. But the feeling of her sort of casting me out the way she did sent all my emotions back to where I was in 2012, which was a massive low point. Major anxiety, depression, literally like that over a week or two that just developed, and I just absolutely tanked. And I found myself in a really dark place, sort of beginning of 2017, and it was not good. And I know from previously, so back in 2012, that the best thing that I did was to speak to someone. That was in the form of a therapist back then, and it helped me massively. But I felt, it was odd, I almost felt embarrassed this time, because I knew that the root cause of it was because of a breakup. and breakups happen all the time. And so I didn't feel like I could talk to someone in that manner, because I thought, well, they're just going to laugh at me because I'm upset about a girl like ditching me or breaking up with me. And I thought, well, do need to talk about this, but I can't do it. I need to just figure this out another way. So yeah, beginning of 2017.
Sorry, I can't help myself. I've got to chip in.
Go on. Yeah, go on.
So basically, you had your wobble when you were single.
Yep.
Then you got in a relationship.
Yep.
Everything's all sweet and dandy.
Yep. You
had to break up, and then you started to have a wobble again. So actually, and I don't mean this how this sounds, but when you went into that relationship, all of your wobble demons, whatever anxieties, you just put them to one side because you didn't have to deal with them, because you could focus. So I don't want to sound like I'm diagnosing you, but
no, go ahead.
Do you think actually because of the relationship wouldn't have helped? Actually, do you think actually indirectly you had a load of brain wobbles what you hadn't dealt with before? Have I made sense? Or have I just gone?
Yeah, no. I totally get what you're saying. I think being in the relationship, I mean, I was very honest when I was in the relationship, and I spoke quite openly about how I felt. I think that helped me. Yeah. But I used that was almost like a coping thing. I used that to cope with everything else. And it felt very new as well. I remember that at the time. I was thinking, fuck, I hadn't done this for a long time. But it felt very new, and I was head in the clouds to sort of put everything else to the side, and I thought, here we go. And then it just come crashing down badly. Yeah, really badly.
How much did the therapy help then?
Yeah, so I didn't actually engage. I didn't go back to therapy 2017. I dealt with it a different way.
Okay.
So 2012 I very much did, and that helped me greatly, just be able to offload and speak openly about how I was feeling and what was going on in here, and for someone to sit there and listen and to give such a measured and reasonable responses to what I'm saying, and give me sort of tips on how to manage my emotions and how to deal with situations when they arrive and whatnot. And that helped greatly. But I just felt at the start of 2017, I couldn't do it. I don't know why. It was a different, it felt, it felt odd. It felt a little bit alien, sort of the way I was feeling. So I had to get my head around it another way. And for me, that came in the form of running a lot.
Okay. So many people in videos have said about running. I can't be asked.
Some people can't.
But I do like a bit of MTB, like the off-road motorbike, like mountain bike and all this kind of stuff as well. So I guess it's there somewhere. But you can't really argue that when near enough everyone who runs, that's how they deal with their mental health.
Yeah, totally. And I'd always been quite athletic growing up, and I don't know. It was an odd place to be, and I didn't want to talk about it. And I thought that where that footage come from for the video, I plonked my camera down with the full intention of just talking and then being able to watch it back. And I don't know. I thought maybe that might help me to be able to see myself and maybe analyze myself and see where I'm at. But I couldn't talk. I just sat there and I couldn't do it. So I just shot all these little parts of me and little anxiety things and little like rubbing and scratching and neck and these sort of things. And
because you called them anxiety tics. I've not heard that question before, but actually when I saw it, I was like, actually no, I can relate to that one.
And people. Yeah, totally. People don't pick up on it, but self-awareness for me was a big thing, and I noticed it. Straight away. So I thought, okay, well, I've got this, and then I just sat there on a hard drive, and obviously I literally just came across it the other day, and it threw me back to 2017. I had to go back through my kind of timeline of Instagram, and I thought, fuck, like, I finally realized how much I actually achieved that year. But it it was positive and negative. So I got myself out of that rut by engaging in exercise and running. Running was my thing. And I ran my first marathon in 2017. I also ran a half marathon every month in 2017. So the bad one that I did was, I say bad one, it was actually amazing, but I went and done the national Three Peaks challenge, so the 24-hour challenge.
Yeah.
However, I describe it as the bad one because I went and done it on my own.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And in all honesty, I went there with not much thought about coming back, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see that with all the running that I've done as well. It was almost like I was trying to push myself to a limit to almost break. I wanted to find my breaking point. And it was, I think in my mind, that was almost like a form of self-harm, because I'd get that release out of feeling the aches and the pains and running to a point where I was hurting or yeah. And I think when I mean the Three Peaks thing, this is the sort of mindset I was in at the time. That week at work, I'd been speaking to a colleague who told me that he'd gone away with a team and done the Three Peaks, and I went, "You went and done it with a team?" And I sort of mocked him almost. I went, "You've done it with a team?" I said, "Why don't you do it with your own?" And he looked at me, he went, "You'd be mad to go and do it on your own."
Yeah.
And I just sat there and I went,
a tricky point, isn't it? Yeah.
I went, "Ah." He went, "You'd be mad." He said, "You can't do that on your own." He said, "You've got to travel." He said, you're going to be there. You start early in the morning and you go right through. And he went, "There's no way you can do that on your own." And I just sat there and I went, "Yeah, I'm going to fucking do it on my own."
Yeah.
And it was literally like, I think a day or two later, off I went. I literally just went.
Yeah.
Travelled up to Ben Nevis up in Scotland, loaded up my car with a load of Red Bulls, fucking energy drinks and snacks and big cauldron of coffee and that, and just went and done it. And I didn't. The mad thing. So go ahead. Good.
Were you disappointed you didn't come back at that time? Well, sorry, was you disappointed you did come back and something didn't happen at that time?
No, I almost didn't acknowledge what I'd done, because I didn't tell anyone that I was doing it. I didn't really talk about it when I come back. Not a whole lot. I kind of and then I just gradually started posting pictures and stuff that I'd take along the way, because I wrote a letter in my. So it's the other. Actually, this bit I've never actually spoken about openly. So you're getting an exclusive here. So I wrote a letter, and I left it in the glove box of my car, and it was essentially a letter to my mum, my friends, and my family, explaining where I was at, how I was feeling, and what. I mean, I think I got rid of the letter eventually, but I held on to it for a little while. But yeah, it was just, it was me just sort of.
Can I just be quite blunt? That was basically a suicide letter, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, no, I was just saying that I'd had enough, and this was my way of going out. And I didn't. From my suicidal thoughts back in 2012, that was very much thoughts of wanting to hang myself. So that was my plan. I had a plan in place. I had a rope. I had a spot that I was going to go to, and that was that thought process. Whereas this one, I wanted to just break myself. I didn't want to do an actual, but the action of what it was in 2012 to where I was now. It was like pushing myself to the limit to find that breaking point. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it. I ended up bloody doing the Three Peaks and driving myself home, and I was almost just a bit flat, and then I went to work the next day.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
Yeah, I know.
I literally don't know what to. I literally don't know what to say. But I'm clearly glad that nothing did happen. And
I am as well. Totally.
And you did come back. But I just wasn't expecting it to spin round the call to spin round to this way. So, but yeah. So just before. So obviously, because we're already hitting that 20 minutes. Obviously, we went in quite dark and deep very, very quickly on that one.
Yeah.
If you've been there, and I've tried silly things myself over the years. I'm hoping my son doesn't watch this video this far into it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
If somebody's in that dark place, and I don't know, I'm trying to find an example, because I think when people start talking about suicide, they presume that they're just going to go to the nearest bridge or the nearest whatever. Do you get what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's not always like that. A lot of it is just like things like, well, like that. And these are the stories I'm hearing about more. And this is what scares the living daylights out of me, mate, because people just like I knew somebody who was racing. They was racing. No, they booked a track day.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up losing their life on it. And actually, the people what were there were saying he was just so reckless. The trouble is, people don't register that. Oh, he died doing what he loved. No, we've got very, very dark. But if someone's in that situation, what would you say?
So I think the best bit of advice that I can give to someone is to talk. Although in 2017 I didn't want to. I had previously, and I've seen incredible benefits from it. And I had another blip later on, so past 20. So it was only last year. I actually had another blip. I started last year, and I straight away went into talking. So that came through on my new job. To be fair, I work. So 4 years ago, I joined the prison service. So for me, with the clientele that I work with, it's all about talking. And I deal with a lot of self-harm and people who want to kill themselves because they lose that they're in that sense of hopelessness, and that's the big common theme with all the cases there. And talking and being open about how you feel and what's going on in your head, because there is people that will listen, and there is people that will be able to support you and help you 100% always.
That's what I mean. I think I've said this with Sam Phillips and various people have been in the public eye quite a bit, actually. Even MANUP over 3 year, but it gets something like 150 to 100,000 views every single month now, just on the Facebook and whatever else. And I've had 3 people troll me out of hundreds of thousands of people about me talking about movement off. I've sat there with bank directors through the charity and all that, and they're like, yeah, I had a nervous breakdown a few years ago, and I'm like, I knew you then, I didn't even know nothing about it, and stuff like that. So I do strongly believe that most people, you're always going to get trolls, you're always going to get a scumbag. It's just life. Don't speak to them. And so that was a good call, man. That swung round very, very quickly. But I'm just gonna. Are you all right if I actually upload this like this?
Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely fine.
Because obviously you said there's a bit what you've not told anyone else. So I'm just like, well, this is going on a Facebook page with a couple of.
I'll be honest with you. So the point I'm at in my life now, and I almost think that doing the dip and speaking with Sam, almost. These are things that I've thought about talking and being open with, because I know the benefit from within my own sort of peer group and my own social group. The people that I talk to, I help a lot of people within my team and friends and whatnot. So I know my story can have a massive benefit to people. So I think I'm at a point now where I want to get it out there, and I want to help if I can. Just people tuning in and listening. If it benefits one person, then I'm happy.
That's what it's all about, mate.
Yeah,
it really that is absolutely what it's all about. And that's so. Anyway, I'm going to hit that stop record button, mate. Bear me 1 second.